guys, it's your girl Casey Part. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, and in today's video I'll be showing you how to cut your lovely hourglass kind of blouse, a structured blouse. So basically I'm just going to dive into this video, and I'm cutting directly on my fabric because trust me, this was a very quick one. I needed to wear this dress quickly for something. So this is an off-shoulder dress, and for some persons who still have issues with cutting off-shoulder, I hope this video helps. So I am subtracting 5 inches. This I'm going to keep my tape to mark all the measurements that I need. And so you will see me mark my bust point, my under bust, which is 13.5, my bust point is 10.5, and my waist point, which is 16, and then the full length I'm working with is 25 inches. But because I subtracted my tape by 5 inches, so the full length, if I place it from the part that I subtracted, would definitely give 20 inches. But so this is me covering my bustier line. My nipple to nipple is 8 inches, and divided by 2, that will give you 4, which I marked. And on the hip part, that's the full length of the dress, I had marked 1 inch on both sides. And on the waist part, I had marked 1 inch on one side and 2 inches on this other side. And the same thing I did on my under bust part. I usually use 2 inches because I don't want the bustier so full. I'm not like on plus size, so I'm not a plus size, sorry. So this is me marking half inch on both sides on the upper part of this dress, and I'm connecting all my lines. And these lines that I'm connecting, for the newbies or for the beginners here, these lines are my dart lines. So this is basically going to give us our bustier line. So the next thing to do is to mark in our circumferential measurements, and I am marking in the hip measurements, which I am working with as 40 divided by 4, which will give me 10. Then I marked in 4 to 5 inches on that hip part, because this is like an hourglass kind of dress. That means it would not be so fitted, neither would it be so loose on my waist. So I marked in my waist measurements and my under bust measurements, which obviously are same. And I also added the dart allowance as well as the sewing allowance, which I added as 2 inches, and the dart allowance here clearly is 3 inches. So the next thing I did was to mark my bust line, included the dart measurements and as well as the sewing allowance, and you can see me connecting all my lines. I hope at this point we've been able to understand what I am doing here. So this is me curving this part, the down part or the lower part of the dress, because I want it to have a curved edge. So I'm basically curving that part, and I moved up by 3 inches, and later I moved up, adjusted by 4 inches. That's moved up by 4 inches because I just wanted to give it maybe like something higher, so, or yeah, something more shapy. So I had marked that 8 inches line as my armhole line. So I still kept my tape, subtracted the 5 inches, and marked 8 inches as my armhole line, and that is where my armhole will sit. And I also like marked the wideness of my chest part, my upper chest, and that's basically how I connected it to that armhole line. So this was me explaining to you all that you can decide to curve your dress this way. That's if you want to make a sweetheart kind of neck, or you can even decide to curve the upper part like in a higher form. That's like the first picture that you saw in this video. You can decide to curve this dress anyhow, but me, I just decided to do some kind of zigzag curves on this dress, which I later even skipped some of them when I was joining it because I didn't want so much drama on this dress. I might not be reusing the dress again. It was just a quick one because I had an event to attend. So this was me cutting out all of this opening, which if you're following the same pattern just like I'm doing, you're going to have a very good effect at the end of the day on your blouse. So I am cutting out all of these pieces, and by the time we are done doing that, we are going to go over to the back part of this dress. So I'm going to be quick about this because the back part is not as complicated as the front part. So I'm just going to subtract the 5 inches that I subtracted on the front part on the back part, and that would mean me keeping my tape as like length 20, as you can see here. Then at the end by the time I'm done marking that, I'm just going to keep my tape, subtract that 5 inches from my tape, and take my time to marking all the measurements that we need for the back piece. So I was checking the wideness if it's enough. So by the time I was done checking that, I marked my zip line. Please, I didn't necessarily do the zip adjust. I didn't show you how to go about adjusting your zip parts on this video, but if you do not know how to get that right, to make sure that your zip sits in properly, check my channel for that video and it will direct you on what to do. So I marked the lines that I would be needing for the back part, my waist. Sometimes you necessarily do not even need to mark your underbust if you share same measurement with your waist and your underbust. So basically what you just be needing is your bust line and your waistline for the back piece. So that done, I just decided to mark in my lines for the back piece. I didn't want the back to have an opening, so I just worked with the basic darts for the back. So at this point, after marking that, the next thing I just did was to take my time to put in my measurements, my waist measurements, including the dart measurement as well as the sewing allowance. And the same thing I did on that waist, because it's same, I also did it on I also got the same measurements for my bust. Next thing I'm gonna do, or I did, was to get the circumference of the upper part of my chest, and I also marked the line, that's the armhole line, and then I curved it. And then I'm just basically going to marking my bust line at this point, and then I'm going to curve that and join all my lines together. So by the time I'm done joining these lines together, I will just bring my front part to this back part and try to get the same curve, so that at the end of the day we are going to have same curve and same length for both pieces. So afterwards, I also placed my tape same way to get the opening that I would need at the back part. And I marked that. I subtracted 2 more inches, making it 7 inches as the opening I will have at the back part, and I curved that out. So quickly, all you have to do is to get into the cutting of your dress, and after cutting that, you have to transfer the darts on the other side of the dress, which I also did. So basically, by the time you're done doing this, you're like halfway done with your dress. The next thing you would have to do is to place your wadding for this dress. I took my time to cut the sleeve part. This is an off-shoulder dress. As you saw in the picture I earlier posted, it's an off-shoulder dress, and I'm working with 5 inches on fold, and the wideness of the off-shoulder I'm working with is 13 inches. Wideness. So you could use less, you could use more. It depends on how loose or how tight fitted you want the shoulder or the sleeve to sit on your arm. So by the time you're done doing this, basically take your time to cut your lining, which I did off the camera, and then I went to my ironing board to add the wadding for this dress, and I am explaining at this point that you just goes to your sewing machine and join these pieces. So this is my lining piece. Like I said, I cut it off the camera, and I also went ahead to do the same thing that I did to the main fabric, to the lining fabric. I joined the pieces together. So afterwards, this is what you would have by the time you're done joining the pieces together. Now let me re-emphasize that if you want, this is what I did to the lining part. I just added some kind of structure boning to this. You can decide to even add more if you want to. Like I said, I'm just wearing this dress once or twice and I won't be reusing it. So in another tutorial, I'll be showing you how to properly pad your structured dress, because this dress I would definitely not reuse, so I didn't bother padding a lot of it. This is the back part. Just go ahead to take in your dart lines, and that would be all for the back piece. Now the next thing to do is to join the sides of this dress together, and you're basically doing that on just the main fabric. Whatever you're doing on the main fabric, do well to do it on the lining separately, because we would want to have everywhere sealed up, like all parts of the dress is sealed up. So you just join this on the main fabric and also join the lining separately. I hope that's well understood. So this is what we have at the end of the day. Like I said, if you want a thicker effect, you can go ahead to pad the dress all round with cloth gum or paper stay, so that would make you have a thicker effect, and I'll be showing you how to do that in my next tutorial, so stay tuned. So this is me trying to explain that you should take your time, go over to your sewing machine and join all of these openings and lines. Take your time, make sure that both lining and fabric are equal, so that you will not have it wobbling at any point. And as you can see, my lining is shorter because I'm using the lining to turn over. So make sure your own lining is shorter by 1 inch. That way your lining will sit inside properly. So by the time you're done joining this, leave an opening for turnover. You can leave a tiny opening on the zip part for the turnover. I hope my explanation makes sense. You can leave an opening on whichever part that suits you right for the turnover. This is the sleeve. I also went ahead to add some structure, just a little sewable boning on the sleeve, so that I will be able to bend it easily and it will be able to stand out on my sleeve if I choose to have it stand out. So yeah, so the sleeve is not so wide, neither is it loose. So basically that's why I added structure. You're just gonna seal it up, and also take your time to attach it to the sleeve part. So the next thing you're gonna do is to take your time and turn this out, as you will see me do. This might take a bit of time, but just take your time to do that. Pull this out from the opening that you must have created somewhere, and by the time you're done doing that, take your time, pull all the edges out, go over to your ironing board and iron this properly, like iron it properly. So by the time you iron it properly, you're going to have a good finished look. I went ahead to attach the sleeve, though I couldn't make a video. I didn't remember to make a video of that. I also went ahead to pop some beads on the lower part as well as the sleeve area, so that the dress would not look so plain. I also marked a line where I wanted to put beads, but I'm like, I'm not using this dress, so yeah, I cleaned up the line and just popped some flowers there, and that was enough for the dress. That was all I needed for the dress. I didn't want so much drama, and at the end of the day, this is basically what we have of the dress. Please, this tutorial has really been helpful. Please do well to like, share, and subscribe to my channel to encourage me to put out beautiful videos like this. Thank you so much, and yeah, see you in my next video. Bye.